welcome to Who's C2C. It's a lovely day out there. In fact, you could say I've been having a fine time out there in the sunshine. But first of all, I want to see which of my friends are online. So I'm going to play some messages and check who's online. So who have we got here first?
Good morning, Who Corner to Corner. Hello, Paul. My name is Kris.
No, not you. I'm Geoff. You're looking for the other guy.
Ian Banks here again.
You're all right. We'll have you back again later, Ian. Who's next?
Hi, Paul and Geoff. Fiona Byrne here.
Paul's not here, but I'll have you back on later, Fee. And who's next?
Hello, Paul. Hello, Geoff.
No, Morgan. It's just Geoff here today, but I seem to have a new friend request coming in. Who's this?
Hello, it's Paul here.
Oh, hello, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Thank you. Yeah.
Before I accept your friend request, I've just got one question for you.
Go on, what is it?
Do you like Avatar? Rejected.
Sorry, that was a communications breakdown just there. I thought you said something completely different, and the whole thing just totally messed up.
Just went a bit wrong there.
Popped, you might say.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good actually, mate. That was a nice bit of fun. You'd obviously worked out there. That was.
I tried to keep it on.
Kept me interested for all of
10 seconds. I tried to keep it on topic there with Dot and Bubble, which is what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
So, as you will have heard by that, we've got some voice notes from some of our listeners, as well as Twitter and Facebook. We got a lot of responses about this episode, didn't we? So we'll come back to all of those a bit later. Yes, but first up, we'll discuss the episode. So this was episode 5 of the new series.
5 of 8.
5 of 8, crikey, it's feeling shorter every week, not obviously because we're getting closer to the end, but when you're realising, actually, there's not that many in this series.
We've gone from the halcyon days of 13 episodes plus a Christmas special down to 8 plus Christmas special. We had 10 with Chris Chibnall's era, plus New Year special, now we're on 8.
The halcyon days of 13.
Yeah. It's kind of like...
sorry, you were talking about episode numbers.
It's kind of like in the old days when we went from Tom Baker's final season and what was that, 7 4-episode stories, I think it was. Something like that. And then eventually it kind of went down and down and down. Hello!
What are you doing here?
You look like trouble.
This is Ella. Everyone, you're going to say hello.
Hello, Ella.
This is my friend Paul, and we're talking, and there'll be people watching us on the computer.
On YouTube.
Daddy?
Yeah?
What are you doing with Paul?
Talking about Doctor Who. You watched Doctor Who yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Good.
Yeah, good. What did you like?
The bit with the person with the ball around the...
Yeah, the bubble. And what did you think of the big slugs?
They were funny because there was a person's leg sticking.
Yes, there was, wasn't there? Yeah. Now, aren't you supposed to be asleep right now?
Square around the screen and not around here.
Because it means I'm talking.
Can he talk?
If Paul talks, it'll pop up on him.
So
here we go. Does it pop up on me? Look, there you go. Look at that. It's gone blue.
No, he's not lit up.
That's because he's not talking.
Oh. Yay, am I lit up now?
Right, you better go to bed. 1 more minute. Love you.
Don't get a high five.
What's he doing?
He's asking for a high five. You can't hear him. Look. Here, put these on.
What are they?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Give me a high five. Yeah. That was fun.
All right. These are headphones to hear through.
Wait, so
No, Paul's on the other side of the country.
The other side of the world. Oh, further than Scotland. On the moon.
what?
Yeah. I got a house on the moon and I go up in my rocket. Well, sometimes.
Wait, so you're the man on the moon?
Oh, no,
Why
he's my next door neighbour.
What?
Yeah.
Go
And-
show him then.
He's made of cheese.
What?
The man in the moon, he's my neighbour, and he's made of cheese.
Because it's late.
Daddy,
Come on.
tell him to show you outside.
I'll ask him in a minute. He can't move his computer.
I
to
can't.
check.
I don't have any windows.
Right, come on, it's very late. You're supposed to be asleep. I love you.
Sorry about that. I just saw a
Far
little
too
head
cute,
behind me. I might leave that in. You couldn't see that she didn't have a top on, could you?
Little bit, but
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll crop my shot a little bit. That was quite funny when I asked about the
oh
episode.
dear, bless him.
Crikey, what were we saying?
I don't know. I forget now. It's completely gone out of my head. There was a man on the moon who's made of cheese, and I live next door to him.
Yeah, we were talking about.
Why do we say those things to kids, or is that just me?
No, they do think there's a
invent
man on the
stuff.
moon.
Yeah.
So that, which is quite good. So yes, we've also got a reduced episode count, but
Right.
you know,
That's
that's
what we were talking
kind
about.
of, you know,
Yeah.
that's what we got. So what did you think of Dot and Bubble?
Oh, this is where you just come out of it, don't
Shall
you?
I say
You
what
don't
I
even
thought?
Build that. Go on, tell me what you thought then.
Well, I don't think I need to. Well, I will recap
Well,
it a
hold on,
little
because
bit.
you texted me. Have I still got the text? It was over here. You texted me Saturday morning, very excitedly. Let's have a look. And oh gosh, you have sent me quite a few of that. Bum 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 bum. Bear with me, caller. You said. Oh gosh, you sent me this many texts in just 2 days. That's ridiculous.
Maybe.
You said. You said best one yet. Well, that was worth the wait, wasn't it?
yeah. Well done.
To which I said, shh, because I haven't watched
Yeah,
it yet.
I thought you'd have
So
seen it.
no
I
spoilers.
actually had a chance to watch it, and the kids, well, Ethan didn't pay much attention, but the girls did. So yeah, I really thought this one was a cracker. So to recap it, we join Lindy Pepper-Bean in the
Great name.
well, I can't remember what the place is called, but anyway, their
Fine
place.
Time.
Fine
Fine
Time.
Town.
No, it's Fine Time, isn't it?
Fine Time. Yeah.
And it's just very, very futuristic, and they have a little dot that follows them around that projects a bubble, around the head of screens, and like a constant social feed.
media.
And then
nightmare.
the Doctor sort of hacks into the feed and is telling them, you know, there's danger, and you know, he needs to help them to save them, but because he was busy filming Sex Education, he can only sit against a blue background for this one until the very end. And so we basically follow Lindy for the episode and uncover what's happening in Fine Time, and then it leads to a resolution, which we will come to, I'm sure. So I thought this was a really good episode. It was, as I said in our 73 Yards review, it's a little bit frustrating that we've got 8 episodes and one of them literally doesn't feature the Doctor for more than 10 seconds, and this one only features the Doctor on screen. But it's, you know, I get it, they needed to film and he wasn't available and stuff, blah, blah, blah. So it does make kind of, you know, getting to know the Doctor slightly tricky when he's not around in his own show that much. But anyway, this was a really, really good episode, and there was enough Doctor in it, to be fair, even if he wasn't present properly. So I thought this kind of built up this mystery and this world really well, and I thought it was quite so shockingly, I've never watched Black Mirror, but I kind of know what it's, you know, sort of a bit like, and there was obviously a lot of comparison of this episode to that, and I liked the kind of commentary in it, you know, the sort of, you know, constant feed of social media and people literally spending their lives in an online bubble and stuff like that, and you know, being so useless without having that information that she can't even walk, like
Can't even walk in a straight line without the arrows.
And then walks into a lamppost, and but also sort of you know, being aware that she was, you know, stupid and useless for not being able to walk properly like that, and kind of made me think about people who sometimes it feels get their opinions from other people online. You know, so and so told me this film was bad. Well, have you watched it? No.
But I trust their opinion.
They said it was bad. And, yeah, I get it. We trust people and we value their thoughts and opinions. But I kind of think, you got to make your own one up, and so that was quite, interesting kind of commentary, I thought. She was so kind of vacuous and self-absorbed.
Oh, my goodness.
That she couldn't even see literally the real world around her, and wouldn't put the bubble down, and eventually kind of looked between the bubble, to see that her supposed colleagues weren't in the room. And I thought there was also a bit of commentary on only working 2 hours a day, and people who don't really want to work these days,
actually work.
Yeah. And it's so hard doing data processing or whatever.
So are you doing? I'm actually working, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're so stupid. It wasn't even, oh my God, it was like, oh my, there was all kinds of different things.
Yes, there was, which I also quite liked as well, was
preached out to.
Yeah, updating these things for a kind of, the way they may have evolved over time. So I thought that Lindy Pepper-Bean was a really great performance by Callie Cook of an absolutely horrific person with no redeeming qualities to her, and you kind of, as it goes on, you sort of see that she's a bit of an arsehole, and a bit kind of bitchy, and you think, oh, maybe it's just sort of, people online are mean and stuff, aren't they? And you think, oh, maybe it's just a bit of that. But then as it progresses, you realise that actually, yeah, she is truly awful. And another thing I really liked was Ricky September, because when he first appeared,
I just looked online. I can't remember what his name was.
And
Ricky September and Gothic Paul.
Yeah, and the names were quite fun. And Ricky was there, like dancing to, camp classic itsy bitsy teeny weeny
going around in my head
bikini.
Now, like 2 days later.
And I thought, Christ, that guy's not really putting any effort in on those dance moves he's got there, and he looked a bit kind of lame with it. But then when you find him later, and I felt he was probably deliberately very doctorish, and I quite liked that.
I never thought of that. Good point.
Yeah, he was
kind
played.
Of filled that space, didn't he?
He did, and I'm afraid I don't know the actor's name, but I thought he was really good, and I really liked
exactly
him. And
who it was, because I got it right in front of me. It was Tom Rhys-Harris.
Yeah, he was great, and he kind of subverted, this whole thing of, the social media influencer who really, like, what do? You're just in his instance dancing to songs, but then he turned out to actually be quite smart, quite brave, quite clever in that, he pre-recorded all of his stuff that he was, probably contractually obliged to do, and then was reading and investigating things, and, he was aware that things weren't right there, and then, it was very doctory. I thought, he sort of took on, they were going to get away, and he was protecting her and help, and all of that sort of thing. And then when she kind of betrayed him, I thought, oh, that's, it was awful.
Rude.
It was very rude, yeah.
Very rude.
So he was great. So I felt like, there was kind of a bit of commentary there on, like, influencers and social media, and podcasters and stuff like that. And,
Very dare you. What are you suggesting?
So, yeah, he was great. I liked Ricky September. He was good. And then, of course, the ending, which we can come to when you've told us a bit about what you thought of the episode. But and the slugs as well.
Slugs.
I thought they were really good, because we saw them in set photos ages ago. And RTD
big
has
sort of foam rubber, plasticky looking things.
Yeah,
and people are going, oh, they're rubbish.
Of course, they've all been, CGI'd over and stuff. And RTD has a habit of, taking an animal that we know, like the rhino, for example.
The garden slug.
Yeah, and aliening it. And
the alien garden slug.
Yeah, and I kind of, I like my things to look, truly alien and weird, I think. But I do understand doing it like my girls, they recognised it as a slug, and it's the sort of thing where next time they see a slug, they might go, oh, it's going to eat us.
I thought it was hilarious, because it had legs sticking, someone's legs sticking out.
Yeah,
she thought that was funny.
And when they were watching it, and I looked over, and they were both playing on the floor.
Yeah.
And then they were sitting silently watching the telly, and I think Ella said something like, he's going to eat her, isn't he? Something like that, and they were actually quite into it, which was fun. So I enjoyed that. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel somewhat bad, I guess, to have enjoyed the episode so much that didn't actually really have much of a Doctor presence in it, other than on the screen, because like you know, like the others when they've all been in it, I was kind of a bit mixed on them. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of what I thought about that.
Basically what you're saying is you feel uncomfortable that the episodes you enjoyed the most have been the ones which don't have the Doctor as much.
Yeah, because it's like no, Blink's a great episode, but it's not Doctor Who, you know, because the Doctor's not really in it very much, and
he's in the DVD extras.
Yeah, people say it's the best episode of Doctor Who ever, but the Doctor's not in it, you know. And it's
not a patch on Caves of Androzani.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best episode ever. I think it's very good. I think it's very clever, you know. But yeah. Anyway, so I really did think this was very good, and thought it had quite a lot to say, and there's probably far more you know, to be read into it, and I've seen some tweets from other people who are in a far better position to comment on things, you know, such as the end and stuff like that than I am, but yeah, I really liked it and thought it was a cracker. How about your good self?
Yeah, I quite liked it as well. I thought it was all right, actually. I didn't think it was the best one I've seen so far. I think actually the best one so far for me is I can't remember the title of it now. That's how good it is. The one with Maestro in it, because I love Maestro. Yeah, that's the one. The Devil's Chord. I think they're great. So that was a lot of fun. I'm really hoping Maestro comes back in at the end. It'd be great. But no, anyway. So yeah. Dot and Bubble. Yeah, I thought it was good, actually. I'll tell you what this gave me the vibes of. Two previous Doctor Who stories. One is the Sunmakers, featuring Tom Baker on the planet Pluto in a kind of mega corporation that's basically a metaphor for HMRC and government tax and, you know, this whole bureaucracy of taxation gone crazy. And that is very much a sort of satire and a commentary on the whole tax bureaucracy. And this, I thought, was very satirical in its tone as well. And also, it reminded me quite a lot of Kablam. Similarly kind of reasons, but also because of the look of, I mean, all three of those stories. I mean, the colour palette is very muted. This one goes for sort of pastel kind of pinks and shades of lavender and, you know, lots of pale beige and stuff like that. So does Kablam, perhaps slightly more warmer colours, like the sort of maroon, orangey red sort of family of colours. And the Sunmakers is kind of orange and beige, you know, at least on the sort of surface level. And then both of them have a deeper subterranean level, which is far darker and more grungy. And it was
the same in Dot and Bubble, wasn't it?
And also, those sort of lower levels are where the real horrors of the story are kind of exposed, if you like. So, you know, so it works both kind of figuratively and metaphorically in similar lines to those two stories, and both of them are kind of satirical in nature. Kablam slightly less so, Sunmakers even more so. Right. And because I thought, you know, with Dot and Bubble, I did like I like the fact it was easy to understand what was going on very, very quickly. So we can all relate to waking up first thing, switching your phone on, checking your socials and your feeds and everything else, see what's going on in the world. And it's literally that, you know, Lindy wakes up, she calls her Dot, the Dot produces a bubble, she connects with her friends, finds out what's going on, what the chatter is, what the gossip is and everything else. And you see her face kind of come alive when she does that as well. I kind of like that. And, you know, and I did think it was, I thought it was, I mean, I couldn't view it as being quite naturalistic. So it was very definitely a satirical commentary and a not so very subtle one at that. But, you know, I kind of went along with it. I thought, you know, it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun kind of drawing the parallels between what you're seeing on screen and what you know. Yeah. You know, and then looking at where they kind of push it out just a little bit further for lols, you know, the whole walking into a lamppost. Yeah. You know, like she's so bloody dim, you know, vacuous, like you said, that she literally cannot walk in a straight line. And I loved it when the Doctor, no, it was Millie at this point, because initially she throws the Doctor away when the Doctor tries to get into a bubble, and she just totally throws him away. And then Millie tries, and I looked at that as thinking, well, okay, yeah, sorry, I should call her Ruby, because character's name, isn't it? So Ruby tries, and Ruby seems a little bit more with it. She understands the language perhaps a little bit more, how to get in a kind of non-threatening way, a sort of sideways sort of way, and even she kind of struggles to break through Lindy's kind of defences. You know, she's, you're not in my circle, I don't know who you are, don't know what you want, don't trust you. You know,
and at that point that you think, oh, she's just rejected the Doctor because it's a new person.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't know.
You don't sort of think anything of it.
Yeah, exactly. And she doesn't know who Ruby is, but Ruby has a slightly better approach at getting on side. So I kind of like that. I think and like, you know, in the first part of the story, I was quite sympathetic towards Lindy. I kind of get who she is and where she's coming from, and I really enjoyed the way that the kind of history and the setup was revealed. The threat, if you like, was there very early on, because I think it might have been Gothic Paul. One of them comes on and says, "Have you seen such and such? Somebody's disappeared." So, you know, typical kind of Russell T Davies kind of style, get the threat in early but make it low key, you know what I mean, while everything else kind of builds up around it, so you get a sense of world building and stuff. I also, actually, just talking about world building, I like the fact we didn't learn everything in massive detail. There was no real sort of exposition on this. It was really wonderfully threaded through. We got just enough at just the right moments. We you know, when we're thinking, who are these guys, what do they do, we're sort of told, but it's not dwelt on, right? We just see references to the home world, and then a bit later on we realise that that's where all the parents live. So now you start making connections in your head, and there's just enough space within those sort of threads that you can sort of make your own kind of inferences as to what's going on. And then you think, well, where did the slugs come from as well? Well, again, as you know, there's a little bit threaded on. The slugs had to have been created. I love the fact that they were going through victims in alphabetical order, and the way that was revealed I thought was brilliant. And then Lindy obviously thinks she's next because she's P. So, but of course there's lots of other people with PAs and you know what I mean, before it gets to her. And again it's you know, every one of Lindy's kind of reactions was a total kind of very believable, slightly OTT but still believable, entitled, self-centered, privileged, rich white kid. That you know, that's it. And I think it was kind of encapsulated when was it Ruby said this is like Love Island in space or something. You know, but even then, I must admit, I wasn't quite prepared for race to come into it. I think it had sort of twigged that, you know, this is that there's a lot of very white faces in this, and the only person of colour does seem to be the Doctor. But it wasn't until things started happening towards the end, I felt real goosebumps coming on the back of my neck, and you know, and I said to Freya, "Is this about his colour?" You know, she's gone, I think it might be. And we're sort of watching it unfold and started feeling really uncomfortable. And that last few moments was a real shock, I have to say, because, you know, we get a story that seems to be about something, and it's having a bit of a laugh with it. And by that time, we're not sympathetic to Lindy anymore. She's already ditched, what's his name? Ricky September. She closed the door, the dot went after him, and, you know, she's glad he's dead because it gave her a chance to get away. And then she tries to make it with the guy. So by that time, by that reveal, we're not sympathetic towards her at all.
I don't think you
what an absolute bitch she is. And
you didn't expect the extent that, you know, it would go to. You know, but
I must admit, it's like, you know, I mean, it's. I like a story that appears to be about one thing and then kind of switches and turns out to be about something else. I think perhaps when I watch it again, I might see some of those clues a bit earlier. I thought I did see them. You know, there's talk about the Doctor being punished in some way or something.
Disciplined at one point.
Disciplined, that's the word. You're going to be so disciplined. There was, and words like that, which kind of adds to the uncomfortable sort of real world horror of the situation.
And she said at the end, something like, you know, talking to screen is just about okay, but not real, you know.
I mean,
and
goodness me, well, that's nasty.
Yeah,
you know, that's full on. That is, you know, I mean, that's not far away from the kind of language that you have to kind of block, scroll past, and react to, deal with, or whatever that you do see online. And it's very easy for people to sort of dish out this stuff from the comfort of their their
well, we've seen
armchairs.
stuff with people talking about when Jodie was the Doctor and having a problem with that, and Shooty being the Doctor and had a problem with that, and so that element of the episode added more kind of meta commentary. When you think about that kind of thing as well, and I thought Shooty was brilliant in that scene, and
oh my goodness, I mean that's going to be one of the most defining moments of his Doctor, I feel. And apparently this was that like the first scene that he filmed pretty much.
So I
one
thought
of the early
that,
ones anyway, right?
73 Yards was Millie's first thing. So as we said last week, she shot that largely on her own, and then Shooty must have been dipping in and out of filming, so perhaps he shot this for Dot and Bubble, and then he did the bits of 73 Yards after, maybe, because he's wearing his reveal outfit in Dot and Bubble.
He is
the one when
that's the outfit, isn't it? The
tweedy jacket, I thought that I was going to say Millie was quite understated in this scene, but her reaction, and you could see that she was kind of really
quite horrified, wasn't she?
Horrified and heartbroken for the Doctor,
looking to sort of console him, but with a hand on the shoulder, but not really knowing. There's nothing you can say to that, really. In that position, it's and there's a look of realization on the Doctor's face as well when he plays it. Because, if you stay within the fiction, this is the first time we've seen a black Doctor, so, presumably the Doctor has been all races, all colours previously, in the whole timeless child thing, and we saw some of those come through.
Yeah, but doesn't remember it all.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously not for a long, long time. So for the Doctor to suddenly be faced with, coming on the wrong end of, this kind of proper institutionalized racism, because that it's exactly what it is. These kids are products of a racism that goes so deep. It can't be anything else. It can't be just a few people. This is the product of a civilization, a whole society. And it's a society that the Dots have clearly used the Slugs to wipe out. So, but going back to it, the realization on the Doctor's face, the way Shooty plays it, is just extraordinary.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's heart wrenching, absolutely heart wrenching to see.
I wondered whether Krasko came from Fine Time. When he was in Rosa.
You do wonder.
Yeah. If you want to headcanon it.
maybe that's when it is.
Yeah.
Maybe there is that. I mean, this is a sad thing about the future, through something like Doctor Who is, I would love to think that we evolve and grow intelligent enough and compassionate enough that these petty things, the fact of giving somebody a different status purely because the colour of their skin, I would love to hope that those sorts of prejudices are completely eliminated in the future, and maybe they are, at some point, but we don't know. And I think it's down to the sci-fi shows of the world to kind of show us that we've got to be mindful, because it will never change unless we change it, unless we face it head on, unless we understand why these things exist and actually do something about them, instead of perpetuating the nonsense, instead of staying enclosed in the bubbles, instead of constantly listening to the corporate speech, or the speech of loud people who set up their own echo chambers just to kind of reinforce and amplify their own opinions, which are clearly wrong. And and again, when you look online and you see certain names, very influential people with literally millions of followers, pushing out hate speech in the name of free speech, in quotation fingers, it's you think it's going to be an uphill battle for a long, long time. Yeah. But if we don't change it, this is going to be the outcome. If we don't do something
about it,
we'll get Kraskos, we'll get Lindy Pepper-Beans. Although actually, if they're all going to be eaten by giant slugs, then brilliant.
That's what I like to think happened. They sailed off in their.
just on the other thing, I did see a meme where someone had put Nigel Farage just about
Yes, I'd seen that,
by
yeah.
one of them. That was quite fun.
And also, I was going to
Finally.
say they sailed off in their Disney-funded Jungle Cruise boat.
Oh
at the
my
end.
goodness! Do you know? I love that. Do you know what that reminded me of in a way?
It looked just like what they have on that.
Yeah. Do you know, it reminded me again. I think there's a lot of allegory going on. There's a lot of similarities to I'm a Celebrity, and stuff like that. People being in the jungle and Love Island and all those things that we know Russell loves. From his interviews and his obsessions with reality TV and all sorts of other things. But it also reminded me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to a degree, where you have a race towards the end of Hitchhiker's Guide. You have a race of, there's like a lost human spaceship, right? It's got detached from this kind of colonial fleet, so we're told, and it's full of like marketing execs and hairdressers and loads of middle management type people, right? And essentially, the race they come from is the Golgafrinchams, right? They are the Golgafrinchams. And years ago, when the sun was about to explode and take the planet with them, they built these 3 ark ships, right, with all the people inside them. So all the kind of working class people went in one spaceship, and all these middle management and hairdressers and marketing executives and what have you, franchisees, they all went in this other ship, and then all the senior like royalty and government types and everyone else went in the other ship. And the Golgafrinchans are looking for everyone else, and then I think it's Arthur Dent who kind of realizes that the other 2 ships actually never left, and there was no catastrophe. They just sent these fuckers out there because they wanted to get rid of them. And I can imagine that being like the home world. These people set up the home world, and they're just so obsessed with their own kind of nonsense that I'm not saying marketing execs and everything else are institutionalized racists, because they're not. Clearly, it's an individual choice to be like that. Yeah. And even if you're brought up in that kind of world and that environment with friends and family who might think that way, it's down to you to make your choice to either be like that or actually don't be like that. Be somebody else. It's entirely a choice thing, as much as you might think it isn't. So anyway, yes, and that's the thing with this story, because it's very light and frothy on the one hand, and yet it deals with a really, really dark theme in very uncompromising terms. And it's kind of harsh, and when you look at something like Rosa, which had racism throughout, it was embodied from the start of the story right through at the end. It was in the DNA of the story. It was in the way not just one person, Krasko, reacted and kind of was motivated, but everybody else in Alabama, all the supporting cast, and our fam had to kind of navigate their way through this minefield of horror that they could never have anticipated was going to be that intense. And as a viewer watching it, you're very much aware of that kind of intensity. But it's there from the outset. It's about Rosa Parks. What's going to happen to a degree if you know the story. Whereas this one,
you do.
All that stuff came completely left field. It was a total curveball. And I don't know whether that makes it better in some ways because it's so unexpected and it hits really hard, or whether it's a kind of Russell T Davies kind of hand of God type ending. Maybe going down one alley and then decides to go on a completely different direction and sort of wrong foots you in some way. So I honestly, I don't know if it's obviously intended to be that, because that was the draft that was signed off. But
I mean, I did read something that this was an idea.
I think he pitched to Stephen Moffat years ago or something, wasn't it?
For Matt Smith, which would imply that Russell was going to go back. But I don't know how it would have worked. To have that ending, it couldn't have done. So
yeah, you do wonder, don't you? Because
it was obviously
I mean, it could have. There's no reason why it couldn't have. I know it could. Yeah, it couldn't have done exactly what am I talking about. Yeah.
So it would be interesting to find out a bit more.
Maybe that's what he meant by saying we couldn't actually have done it 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, maybe then. Yeah. So we had a couple of voice notes from people that we teased earlier. So would you like to fire some of those up, and we'll find out.
Let's have a look now. Well, since I've got Morgan's loaded, let's listen to what Morgan has to say. Here we are.
Hello, Paul. Hello, Geoff.
Hi.
I have seen the episode Dot and Bubble, and I can say that I absolutely adore Shooty Gatmore's acting in this episode. I think he is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, that ending, I'm not sure. That could be controversial to some people. That it might not be. To me, it wasn't really. But yeah, it was an interesting episode. But yeah.
Yeah, you sure? Yeah, that's got
Brilliant.
it.
Thanks,
yeah.
Morgan. Yeah, so
Thanks, Morgan.
Going to take it Morgan wasn't too sure on the episode overall. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what other people thought of the ending, whether they thought it was controversial or not, or a surprise to them, and yeah, interested to see what the discussion is around that. So who have we got next?
Let's have a listen to Fiona Byrne and see what Fiona thinks of the story.
Hi, Paul and Geoff. Fiona
Hi.
Byrne here. Thought I'd drop you a voice note to let you hear what I think of Dot and Bubble. Really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought that actress that played Lindsay was fantastic. Yeah, she really sort of held the whole episode. I thought that was really good. Total shock at the end to me. I hadn't clocked that all the people in Fine Time were white at all. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, you know. But horrible at the same time. So many questions though, like where did all those man-trap monsters come from?
Ooh.
Why were they eating people alphabetically? What happened to their home world? And most importantly, why was Susan Twist Lindsay's mum?
Yes,
you know,
yes.
clearly the Doctor and Ruby referred to that, so
Yeah.
I think we know that something's coming on there. But yeah, nice to get another little pointer. Anyway, love Who Corner to Corner. Look forward to hearing what you thought about it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Fee. Wow, that's fabulous. Yeah, she's
There's
right.
a couple of good points. I wasn't quite sure whether there was a tweet earlier and it said, what would you call the slugs? And I put Sluggy Wuggy boys.
Yeah, well, that's about your level,
This
mate.
is the
isn't it?
stupidest name you could think of. Yeah, I wasn't, because they were obviously on the home world, which I guess was probably Earth.
Not necessarily. Well, I don't know. I didn't take it as Earth.
No,
actually. I
maybe
thought
not.
was
It wasn't
completely
clear. I mean,
different,
it didn't really
But that's
matter.
what I mean. I think there's enough flexibility to kind of have your own sort of backstory, and maybe at some point in the future we'll get a story that goes there, and if we don't, we don't. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I thought, you know, when you were talking earlier about seeing some of the pictures of them being filmed online a while back, I thought then they looked very much like Tractatus from the Fifth Doctor story, Frontius, which is one of my faves. I love it. And I was kind of hopeful that we might see some of the body horror that we didn't quite see, but was implied in that story. But no, it was a lot crisper and cleaner than that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite as grim.
And that's a good point about Susan Twist turning up there as Lindy's mum, and the Doctor and Ruby recognising her. Or
They said quite specifically she was the ambulance lady.
That's it,
and then Ruby says, no, I've seen her somewhere else.
Where she couldn't remember, which is because
thinking the
73
hiker in
yards
the
has
other
been
timeline.
erased from her mind. So, yeah, there's obviously something going on here. I do not accept that they couldn't have any other actors. Well, a load of cobblers.
No, that's just Russell having a laugh. I told you that 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah, but anyone can see through that.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Except you, it
interested to
seems.
see. So, who's next?
Oh, yes.
Brushing past
Let's go to Ian Banks, who's...
Hi, guys.
Oh, straight in.
Ian
Hi.
Banks here again.
Hi, Ian.
I really enjoyed tonight's episode, Dot and Bubble. There was a lot to take in.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, because at first we all thought Lindy was going to be one of those initially dislikable characters who would turn into somebody a little bit more rounded and understandable and sympathetic. And then it didn't happen, which was just brilliant. And that conclusion, which was fantastic too, and it just gave us some more of some fantastic shooty performances to just drool over. He's so damn good in this role. Other thoughts? I'm not so sure I'm really happy about Ricky Saturday being in the same show as Ruby Sunday. I'm also not terribly happy about another Ricky written by RTD getting killed off pretty quickly afterwards, after they've been introduced. But gee whiz, what a fantastic episode that was. There was just so much going on, and it all just held together brilliantly. And then, like I said, with that fantastic conclusion, you got so many clues that led up to it, and you just realised, oh my God, that was why, or oh my God, that was how. And it was just, terrific piece of writing. This season is getting better and better as it goes along.
Ian did message afterwards, and he said he realised he got Ricky's name wrong. But
Ricky Saturday and Ruby Sunday.
Yeah. He said something else I was going to comment on there. Maybe RTD's got a thing against Ricky's.
Maybe he does. Maybe it's some deep-seated childhood trauma or something. It's subliminally working its way out in his scripts. Although, don't forget, it wasn't Russell T Davies who wrote Ricky from Age of Steel, was it? That was Toby. Was it Toby? What's his face? Age of Steel and Rise of the Cybermen was written by Toby Whitehouse, if I'm not mistaken, not actually Russell T Davies.
But I'm sure he would have had an input.
Maybe not. You just don't know. Don't know, do you? Might have suggested the character, or it might have been Toby's complete. Was Toby Whitehouse, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm going to have to double check now.
Hang on, though, isn't he meaning as well Mickey and Ricky?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's when we first saw him. He was in Parallel World, wasn't it? Parallel Earth with Age of Steel, Doctor Who, Season 2, way back then.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Written by Tom McRae. I didn't think it was Toby. I just had that thought in my head. Sorry, Tom. It was you, not Toby. Toby wrote a completely different story. He wrote it. That was the Sarah Jane one, wasn't it? I think Toby wrote.
Maybe. Can't remember.
It's been a while. I'm going to have to check that now. So I want to get my names right. Oh, dear. Goodness me. I don't know.
Would you like to play Chris's audio?
Yes, let's play Kris. So here we are. Kris?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Corner. Hello, Paul.
Hi.
My name is Kris. Sometimes
Chris.
your parish with Graham and Tom and that other man. I just thought I'd hop on as I walk around a beautiful National Trust property on my own. I work here, I've not broken in. To say that I thought Dot and Bubble was amazing. It summed up everything I love about Doctor Who, because I'm a 2005 arriver, and it just really reminded me of things, I guess, like Boomtown and Love and Monsters, which are episodes that I always love. I'm more than happy with the Doctor-lite episode, because I like seeing the wider world. And
That's
this
a good point.
felt like a Love and Monsters for the Zoomers, if you will. And I don't mean that in a patronising sense, because I do genuinely think that it was excellent. I did say somewhere else as well that I think this series is a bit like The Key to Time.
Ooh.
Where when you watch it back in a binge, it'll be clear that every episode was like a little piece to the key to the eventual finale, which we're all going to enjoy in the cinemas, no doubt. But I don't know. I'm possibly wrong. Obviously, I cannot hop into the future, and I cannot see it. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you very much for everything that you do, Paul. You're amazing. You make this show a must listen. You're so knowledgeable.
So what can I say?
And
struggling to find out who wrote
what you did with that fish.
Very good. Thank you, Kris. You're an absolute star, and thanks to everyone for dialing in and leaving us voice messages.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. If anyone else would like to do it, it's www.speaknote.com/whoc2c. Just do it through your phone, and it'll send us a voice note. But those birds tweeting in the background behind Kris, lovely. Yeah.
Brilliant. I just imagine Kris walking around there now, just doing his thing in his National Trust place.
Yeah.
Just having a really great day today.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to explain that fish thing. I'm going to let people have their own interpretations of that. I know what I did with the fish. And Kris knows what I did with the fish.
Indeed. By the way, yes, it was Toby Whitehouse with School Reunion, Vampires of Venice, The God Complex, A Town Called Mercy, Under the Lake Before the Flood, and Lie the Land.
Oh, he did loads, didn't he?
There you go.
Yeah.
He's done loads, mate. He's done loads. He's done loads of them, but not the Cyberman story that what I was thinking about originally. So not that.
I'm just going to read some... Yes, I've got some Twitter comments here.
I was going to say, see, we do that. We've been doing this so long now, mate. We literally finish each other's sentences.
So Michael
Sandwich.
Donahue, finishing others sandwiches.
Okay.
Michael Donahue says McCoy era vibes, a good thing. Shooter gives a powerful performance. The growing dislike and uneasiness about the central character I had throughout pays off wonderfully. And Matt Price says absolutely fantastic episode, takes you on one route and then does a complete 360, ending with a shocking ending and an incredible performance from Shooty. I immediately thought of the Witchfinders and how the last two Doctors have had their race and gender used against them. Now, Randy Allain here says, I'm also always available to chat about the Trickster from the Sarah Jane adventures. Even if we don't get a proper return for this villain, I think his storylines will be helpful in unpacking the rest of the season. I've seen a few people talking about the Trickster, which is quite interesting. And Catherine, here, who's Ginger Sin, said, excellent episode. Love the way that you're kept on the edge of almost liking Lindy right up to the point where she throws Ricky under the bus to save her own skin. And the Doctor's pain at the end really twisted your heart, and Ruby's reaction was heartbreaking. And then Bill wants to retire, said, would like a bit more Doctor in my Doctor Who, but good old-fashioned sci-fi, though, and he gave it a 7 out of 10. Nicholas Bray says, I think it may be the best this season, at least I think I enjoyed it the most. 73 yards was also pretty good, but didn't quite land. That's kind of how I feel. And then Randy Allain, I'm reading these tweets all out of order. He said, Dot and Bubble was fantastic. We had a solid episode that looked great, and then the Doctor faced a new emotional challenge. That's a feat. P.S. The slugs were right. That should be on a T-shirt, I think, shouldn't it? Who Hats says, Dot and Bubble set us up for a classic redemption arc and instead subverted our expectations and doubled down on Lindy being awful and irredeemable. Shooty nailed the Doctor's anger and frustration as he was unable to save people, even if they were awful. Top stuff. And that was... there's one here from B. Bally, who is a new name to us, I think. Better than Space Babies and Devil's Call, but not as good as Boom and 73 Yards. But that scene at the end, 15's reaction to the whole situation, had the energy I felt the 13th Doctor's era lacked. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it was taken more, more fury from it, I think. But we did get some of that in the Witchfinders and stuff, as mentioned elsewhere there. I've disappeared into the dark here because it's gone dark outside.
You have, haven't you?
If you're listening and not watching, then that's fine. Did we have some comments on Facebook as well?
We do. Well done. I was just queuing them up there because you know what it's like on Facebook. You get comments and it shows you relevant comments and they're all over the place. So, let's go through some of these then. So we've got. Actually, just before I do, I'm a bit annoyed at myself because I did. We were having brilliant engagement when I shared this post out to the groups we're part of as well. So I put it out on Doctor Who Infinity, and I think within 10 minutes we'd had like 20, 30, 40. Like the comments were just literally piling in, and then the admins took it down.
Oh no!
Because they said you're not allowed to put new episodes on until like Wednesday or something, or under a spoiler thread. So it's taken down for spoilers. It was like, so sorry guys, sorry Doctor Who Infinity admins. That was entirely my fault. Normally Geoff does stuff like that, but anyway. So we did have some feedback on our own page. So we've got, Keelan McManus, who says, all in all, an excellent episode. Well-placed change of pace from 73 yards, even though both were Doctor-lite episodes. So we're clearly seeing that, that go round a bit, aren't we? The Doctor-lite thing. Also, and I've seen this as well, actually. Keelan goes, I did feel there were many strands at play all at once. AI, which we haven't talked about actually, but definitely AI, the not tractator slugs, and the subtle nods towards the elitist society and the Doctor being different. I did appreciate that some of us get eaten, and in brackets, some of us get eaten, as in Eton, the posh school where all the prime ministers and what have you go to, and royal people. That was interesting, actually. I never saw that, but yeah, good. Wordplay regarding the rich kid narrative being portrayed, and the ending, all I can say is, there's always a twist at the end. My jaw genuinely dropped for the entire scene. Thank you, Keelan. That was pretty much our thoughts as well, I think. We've also got Caden Warren, who says Doctor Who is moving into Black Mirror-esque episodes. That's what you were saying, wasn't it, Geoff? And Caden says, and I am living for it. The last few episodes have been the best I've watched in years, and I'm loving the balance between horror and sci-fi, something Doctor Who has been lacking for years. I loved the main message of the people, and that ending was shocking, all caps. Genuinely was not expecting it. William Morgan, glad all the singing and dancing has gone. It's better. What? Come on. I like the singing and dancing. I literally told you all I love the Devil's Chord. It's fabulous. Come on. There's a really good post here from Assi Rael. So apologies if I'm pronouncing these names totally wrong, but I'll play some of this out because it's quite long, but it's definitely well worth a read. Who says, I absolutely loved it. Struggled with the first 2 episodes of this series, but last week's episode was thrilling right to the end, and Dot and Bubble was absolutely brilliant in my honest opinion. Ruby and Lindy were polar opposites, with Ruby being compassionate not only with Lindy and her people, but also with the Doctor when it was clear his help was rejected because he was not one of them. Meanwhile, Lindy revealed herself to be as awful as can be. Callie Cook played this amazingly well, shifting from that spoiled Barbie-like cutie that you cannot help but sympathise with, and with no experience in the real world, to a cold, ruthless and selfish elitist being, was delivered perfectly. As a viewer, I truly didn't know if I felt sorry for the survivors anymore, because they had chosen their own path and whatever awaited them behind the waterfall. Yeah, that was really good. And Assie goes on, and there's Kate Parry, who came back to Assie and said, yep, well said. The episode did all that, and it had fun. Beautiful visual details. Loved the world building. While I didn't hate Lindy right off the bat, there was something off about her, which of course was thoroughly yet quickly exposed later. Other notes were Ricky September, who I feel was someone who chose different than the Bubble Hive mindset. He showed who he truly was, and it made Lindy's betrayal worse.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
Very true. There's a good exchange on there. Actually, that conversation goes on quite a bit.
Brilliant.
So,
that's good.
Nice. I love it when people start having conversations, in their own. It's lovely. It's beautiful. I like more of it. So I can see.
Please.
You really have gone dark.
I have gone into the.
You need to get yourself some little lights, some little colour lights.
I've got one at the office. I need to bring it home.
Yeah,
I'll try and remember that for next week.
I was thinking of getting get some fairy lights over here or something.
Yeah,
I'll
you
get
could
some
do
neon strips that can pulse. Sort of greens and purples and UVs.
That would be good. Put a pole in the corner.
Yeah. Do some of that. Yeah. So I'll just have a little rave going on. Yeah. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Sorry, don't know.
I'm going to cut the episode there. Well, on that banging note, we will return next week to discuss the Doctor's adventures with Christoph, and I wonder if they'll find out that Time Lords are better than people. It's because it's Jonathan Groff.
Oh, God.
It's Christoph.
How many minutes did you spend working on that one, mate?
None. It just came to me like that.
Did it? Just out of the blue, like a bombshell, just straight in, an insertion into your head. Very good. Brilliant. Yes, right. Indeed.
Thank you, everyone, for all the voice notes and the tweets and the Facebook stuff. We really appreciate it. Really do keep it coming. It's great to have your involvement and input on everything. And we will be back next week for some Rogue action. Hopefully.
See what we did again. Oh, mate, you're on fire tonight.
I am on fire.
Good grief. I'm just not worthy. I'm not worthy.
Maybe I'll tweet that, which is a bird-related pun. Because of the bird people in Rogue.
It's not called Twitter anymore, is it?
Well, I'll exit. And on that note, I'm out of here.
So that's all for now, people. Thank you for listening.
TTFN.
See you next time. Bye for now.